The coat room is just perfect for you, Sarah, my stepbrother Marcus smirked, adjusting his Rolex as he gestured to the converted storage space where I'd been seated for our father's 65th birthday gala. Keeps you close to your natural environment. The Harrison Industries logo gleamed from the ice sculpture at the center of the Grand Ballroom, a testament to my father's legacy, the company he'd built and handed to my stepbrother while I was deemed too soft for business. If they only knew that Harrison Industries was about to become a minor subsidiary in my vast corporate empire. Still working in that little consulting firm? My stepsister Amanda asked, her Cartier bracelet catching the light as she pretended to show concern. You know, Marcus could always find you something entry-level at Harrison. Filing maybe. My phone buzzed discreetly, another alert from my real office. Acquisition documents prepared. Harrison Industries stock purchase complete. Regulatory filing scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing fine, I replied quietly, checking the time. 2 more hours until the business world discovered that the little consulting firm was actually a front for Eclipse Global, the mysterious conglomerate that had been systematically acquiring major corporations across 3 continents. Sarah's always been more suited to simpler work, my stepmother Victoria pronounced, her designer dress probably worth more than what they thought I earned in a year. Not everyone has the Harrison business instinct. I suppressed a smile, thinking of the board meeting I'd chaired that morning in my real office, a sweeping penthouse command center where I orchestrated the acquisition of companies like Harrison Industries over breakfast. Dad was right about keeping you away from the company, Marcus continued, swirling his aged scotch. Business requires a certain ruthlessness. You still cry at sad commercials. The last company that underestimated my ruthlessness was now a small division of Eclipse Global, its former CEO working 3 levels below my junior executives. How's that studio apartment working out? Amanda inquired with false sweetness. Still in Queens? You know, if you just let Marcus manage your trust fund. The trust fund, they thought I relied on, was pocket change compared to Eclipse Global's daily operating budget. My real estate portfolio included the building where Amanda had been rejected for a penthouse purchase last month, deemed financially insufficient by the board I secretly controlled. My phone lit up again, all Harrison Industries shares secured. Ownership transfer complete. Awaiting your authorization for announcement. I'm getting by, I said mildly, maintaining the same careful facade I'd worn for 12 years while building my hidden empire. The consulting work pays the bills. Oh, sweetie, Victoria sighed, sharing a knowing look with her children, you really should let Marcus help you with investments. Even a small portfolio would be better than nothing. Marcus nodded condescendingly, unaware that I owned controlling interest in the investment bank that handled Harrison Industries' corporate accounts. Another alert flashed, Asian markets responding to acquisition rumors. Harrison Industries stock up 15% in pre-trading. Remember when Sarah thought she could run Harrison's international division? Amanda laughed, drawing snickers from her socialite friends. Thank goodness Daddy understood her limitations. The same international division that would soon report to my global operations team, along with the other 57 companies Eclipse Global had acquired this year. At least she stopped talking about her big ideas for the company, Marcus added, checking his reflection in a champagne glass. What was it last year? Sustainable energy? Digital transformation. Both initiatives were now billion-dollar divisions within Eclipse Global, generating more revenue than Harrison Industries' entire operation. My phone vibrated again. Wall Street Journal requesting comment on Harrison Industries' acquisition. Photo approval needed for morning edition. I've learned my place, I said softly, watching Marcus boast about Harrison's latest acquisition, a small tech company that Eclipse Global had deliberately sold at a discount, knowing it would attract his attention. That's the problem with Sarah, Victoria told her social circle loudly enough for me to hear. No ambition. No drive. Just happy with her little consulting job and her little apartment. The little apartment was actually a maintained facade, just like my modest wardrobe and basic lifestyle. My real residence occupied the top 5 floors of a building I owned, with a helipad for my private fleet. More champagne for the Harrison Industries table, Marcus called out imperiously. Sarah, stick to the house wine. We wouldn't want you stretching your budget. If he only knew that Eclipse Global owned the champagne manufacturer, the distribution company and the hotel chain itself. The entire celebration was unknowingly being hosted in my property. 9 p.m., my chief of operations texted. Ready to proceed with announcement? I looked around the room at Marcus bragging about his business acumen, at Amanda flaunting her supposed wealth, at Victoria orchestrating her social politics. In less than 5 minutes, they would learn that the family member they'd banished to the coat room actually owned their entire world. Execute, I texted back, watching the Wall Street Journal notification light up phones across the ballroom. The future was about to change dramatically at the Harrison family table. And I had the best seat in the house, right here in the coat room, watching their empire become mine. The first ripple of shock hit the ballroom precisely at 9:01 p.m. Phones began lighting up like fireflies, each screen displaying the same Wall Street Journal headline: Eclipse Global acquires Harrison Industries. Mystery CEO revealed as Sarah Harrison. Marcus choked on his champagne, his perfectly pressed suit suddenly seeming to suffocate him. This has to be a mistake, he sputtered, frantically refreshing his phone. There must be another Sarah Harrison. The article's featured photo, a professional headshot of me in front of Eclipse Global's Tokyo headquarters, answered that question before I needed to. My executive assistant Claire materialized beside me, carrying a sleek titanium briefcase filled with acquisition documents. Ms. Harrison, Claire said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, the Asian markets are opening in 20 minutes. Would you like to conduct the briefing here or in your private boardroom upstairs? Here is fine, I replied, standing up from my coat room table. I think it's time for some family transparency. Victoria's wine glass slipped from her manicured fingers, shattering on the marble floor. But you're just a consultant. Eclipse Global Consulting was indeed a consulting firm, I confirmed as Claire distributed detailed portfolios to the stunned family gathering. We consulted on which companies to acquire, which executives to replace, and which empires to reorganize. Amanda grabbed the portfolio with shaking hands, her Cartier bracelet suddenly looking cheap compared to the wealth detailed in those pages. 57 major acquisitions this year alone. Holdings in 38 countries. Market capitalization exceeding $400 billion as of today's closing, I supplied. Though that number will jump significantly once the Harrison Industries acquisition is fully priced in. Marcus was now frantically calling his corporate lawyers, only to have each call directed to Eclipse Global's legal department, which I'd owned for years. The board votes, he whispered hoarsely. The secret meetings last month were with my acquisition team, I nodded. Though they were instructed to wear Harrison Industries badges. Amazing how invisible service staff can be, just like people relegated to coat rooms. The ballroom's massive screens, meant for displaying birthday tributes, now showed financial news networks breaking down Eclipse Global's stunning emergence from the shadows. Graphs detailed our meteoric rise, our strategic acquisitions, our dominant market position. The consulting work, Victoria said faintly. All those small projects you talked about were assessments of acquisition targets, I confirmed. Every time you mocked my little job, I was evaluating another billion-dollar purchase, including Harrison Industries' competitors, suppliers and partners. We own them all now. Claire continued distributing documents, organizational charts showing Harrison Industries' new position within Eclipse Global's vast corporate structure. Marcus's title of CEO was now buried 6 levels below my executive team. The sustainable energy initiative I proposed last year, I continued, watching Marcus's face drain of color, the one you called naive and impractical? Eclipse Global's green technology division generated more revenue last quarter than Harrison Industries did all year. My phone buzzed continuously with calls from CNBC, Bloomberg, Forbes, all wanting the first interview with the revealed CEO of Eclipse Global. The same business reporters who'd ignored me at Harrison Industries events were now desperately vying for my attention. Your apartment in Queens, Amanda said weakly, still scrolling through Eclipse Global's holdings. When you said you couldn't afford Manhattan, is part of our real estate portfolio, I replied. Along with this hotel, half of Manhattan's premium office space, and that penthouse you were rejected from last month. The building's board answers to me. The screens now showed Eclipse Global's true reach. Technology companies, manufacturing giants, financial institutions, all connected through a complex web of subsidiaries and partnerships. Those investment tips I asked for at Christmas, I said to Marcus, whose Rolex suddenly seemed like a child's toy, when you suggested I start with basic index funds? I was actually assessing your financial acumen. He failed, by the way. Spectacularly. Business leaders throughout the ballroom were now gravitating toward my courtroom table, realizing that the real power center of the party had been hidden in plain sight. The digital transformation proposal, I continued, accepting a secure tablet from Claire, the one you said showed my lack of business understanding? It's now Eclipse Global's fastest-growing division. We're digitalizing entire industries while Harrison Industries is still updating its website. The next hour transformed the gilded ballroom into something resembling a corporate war room. CNBC had set up an impromptu broadcasting station near the dessert table, their headline screaming, "Eclipse Global CEO emerges. The most powerful woman in business was hiding in plain sight." Ms. Harrison, a Financial Times reporter, called out, "Sources say Eclipse Global is behind the recent Asian tech sector consolidation. Can you confirm your role in the Singapore-Korea merger?" "All ongoing acquisitions are confidential," I replied smoothly, watching Marcus sink deeper into his chair. The same brother who'd dismissed my international business strategies was now realizing I controlled major portions of the global tech industry. "The Innovation Fund," Amanda whispered, still scrolling through Eclipse Global's portfolio on her phone. "When you asked for advice on startup investments last year." "Was market research," I confirmed. "Every time you laughed at my amateur questions, I was identifying another acquisition target. Those basic concepts I pretended not to understand? Each one led to another multi-billion-dollar deal." Claire approached with a fresh set of documents, the complete restructuring plan for Harrison Industries. The company would be broken into 3 divisions, each reporting to different Eclipse Global subsidiaries. "Your office," Victoria said weakly, "that tiny cubicle you complained about, was a convenient observation post." I nodded. "While you were mocking my pathetic workspace, I was evaluating Harrison Industries' operational inefficiencies. Amazing what people will say around someone they consider insignificant." My secure phone lit up with urgent messages. The World Economic Forum wanted me as their keynote speaker. The Business Roundtable was requesting my membership. The Wall Street Journal needed comments on my leadership philosophy. "The management training program I applied for," I said to Marcus, whose CEO parking spot would be reassigned tomorrow, "the one you said I wasn't ready for? I've trained over 300 CEOs through Eclipse Global's Executive Development Program. They're running your competitor companies now." The ballroom screens displayed Eclipse Global's educational initiatives. Corporate universities, leadership academies, innovation centers, all operating under different names, all ultimately reporting to me. "Your budget spreadsheets," Amanda remembered suddenly. "When you asked for help with expense tracking, were templates we used to identify struggling companies," I replied. "While you were laughing at my poor money management, I was calculating acquisition values, including Harrison Industries' true worth, which was far below what Marcus claimed in his reports." Claire distributed the next round of documents, detailed analyses of Harrison Industries' systemic failures under Marcus's leadership. Each missed opportunity, every flawed strategy, all documented in precise, damning detail. "Starting tomorrow," I announced to the stunned room, Eclipse Global begins its comprehensive restructuring of Harrison Industries. We're launching a $20 billion modernization program, implementing all the initiatives that were rejected as too ambitious over the years. My executive team continued circulating through the ballroom, distributing business cards and scheduling meetings with shell-shocked Harrison Industries executives who suddenly realized their new org chart ended at my desk. "By the way," I added, watching Marcus check his company phone that would soon be deactivated, "that executive retreat you're planning next month? Cancelled. The resort was acquired by Eclipse Global last week. We're converting it into a technical training center for underprivileged students. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just taking over a company, it's transforming it into something that actually matters." "Your performance reviews," I said to Marcus as his executive assistants began reporting to my HR team, "might need revision. Eclipse Global has very different standards for leadership. We're especially interested in how executives treat insignificant family members. The next day's business press would call it the most spectacular corporate revelation in decades. But it was more than that. It was proof that true business acumen doesn't come from inherited titles or corner offices. It comes from understanding how to build something meaningful while others are busy protecting their egos. Claire, I called out as we prepared for an emergency board meeting, please ensure everyone receives Eclipse Global's new corporate culture handbook. Especially the chapter about judging people by their office location. Because the greatest business success isn't about maintaining family dynasties. It's about quietly building something revolutionary while they're too busy mocking your cubicle to notice. Oh, and Victoria? I turned back one final time. That social circle you cultivated so carefully? They're all in my corporate leadership program now. Amazing how quickly priorities shift when the coat room occupant becomes their boss. My secure phone buzzed again. Sovereign wealth funds requesting partnerships, global corporations seeking mergers, international conglomerates suddenly realizing who really controlled their industry's future. The networking events you excluded me from, I said to Marcus, who was still trying to process that his CEO parking spot would become a bicycle rack, were actually quite useful. It's amazing what competitors will reveal when they think they're talking to a nobody. As I walked toward my waiting executive team, I heard Amanda's panicked voice. Call our lawyers. Call our bankers. Call anyone. But what she didn't know was that they all reported to Eclipse Global now. Every law firm, every bank, every consultant they might turn to was ultimately connected to my corporate network.